Well, you wrecked it pretty good this time. Better haul it over to the Hill Street back shop and turn it over to that new apprentice, Totter?
Tater. At the Hill Street shops, I'm known as Apprentice Tater, but you can call me Tater. This is a wrecked, damaged Chesapeake, Ohio T-1. At the Hill Street shops, the apprentice is known and expected to disassemble and reassemble a locomotive blindfolded. I see what the problem is. It's the decoder. The decoder replacement is the train control system WOW 101 and the Keep Alive 2. The first process is to remove the old decoder. The wires for the locomotive are numbered 1 through 7, 1 being on the engineer side and 7 on the fireman side. Using deductive reasoning, we are going to determine where the wires go. The drivers on the fireman's side are attached to wire number 7 on the fireman's side. The drivers on the engineer's side are attached to wire number 1 on the engineer's side. The headlight wires, polarity unknown, are wires 3 and 4. The motor wires, polarity unknown, are numbers 2 and 6. Wire 5 is attached to number 5. The use is unknown, possibly for future cam operation. Carefully label each wire, starting with wire number 1. The only 2 additional labels needed are on the tender, and they are for the power wire on the engineer's side and the power wire on the fireman's side. It is important to know the proper way to strip wire for a successful decoder installation. The professional way. The amateur way. And the redneck way. The next step is to hook up the 9-pin DCC plug to the correct wire. Hook up the driver wire on the engineer's side and the tender wire on the engineer's side to the red wire of the 9-pin conductor using a mechanical connection. Solder the wires together using proper soldering technique. Slide a small piece of heat shrink over the wire connection. Carefully using a heat gun, shrink the heat shrink. Hook up all wires correctly except for the lighting and speaker wires. I've used some masking tape to secure the wires to the decoder, and I'm using a zip tie to secure the decoder to the original decoder frame. I will trim the zip tie for tidiness. It's time for a little test before we program the volume. Further clarification is needed on the installation wiring. The wiring coming out of the floor on the engineer's side goes to the driver on the fireman's side, and the wiring coming out of the floor on the fireman's side goes to the driver on the engineer's side. Both the headlight wire and the backup light wire require a 499 ohm resistor. The common wire is blue. If you found this decoder installation helpful, please tell my shop foreman and tell him Tater sent you.
Hey, look! Isn't that Tater at the throttle of that engine he just rebuilt? He's coming pretty fast! Step back!